everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of the Books, Hooks and Yarn video podcast. I'm out of fingers to show how many episodes we're up to. That's pretty cool. My name is Crystal. I am a mum of two beautiful girls, Bunny and Bear. Bunny is 3, Bear is 6. We live here in the southeast of Victoria. My husband lives here too. Sorry, I am married with our fat cat Peaches. This is a podcast mostly about knitting. There is actually very rarely a bit of crochet, sewing, if I can be bothered to put out a sewing machine, hand-dyed yarn when I feel like it, and yeah, whatever else captures my interest. I also like to talk about what I'm reading or watching or what I'm listening to. That normally happens at the end for my coffee and yarn. Today it is my coffee cup, but I am breaking my rule of only drinking coffee out of it. I have a black tea in there, which is just so refreshing on a beautiful sunny day like today. I guess we can get straight into it because I do have a finished object this week. Well, this episode I should say, since I don't do these weekly. I finally finished my blue socks. First thing you might notice is, yes, they are different sizes, and can I just say, wow, what a difference 4 stitches makes. These ones are 68, these ones are 72. Makes a difference. Also, I didn't stuff up the toe on these ones and I did on these ones. A couple of episodes back, I finished the larger sock, the 72 stitch, and I remembered thinking the toe was taking an awfully long time, and that's because I got down to 32 stitches, I think, or whatever it is you're supposed to get down to, and I forgot to start decreasing every round after that. I was still doing every second round, so it took me a little bit longer, and the toe decreases, go for a bit longer on this sock than the other sock. I am okay with them being different sizes because they're just going to be socks for me for around the house, and I'm also using them to try on different people to gauge their sizing. So I took these already to a friend's house and got her to try on the larger one and the smaller one. Actually, she only tried on the smaller one and it fit pretty perfectly, except the heel was too big, so she doesn't need as long of a foot as what I do, but I already knew that that would be the case anyway if I ever get around to actually making her some socks. So these are my beautiful blue, hoping that it's focusing, Summer Sky socks. This is my Summer Sky colorway that I dyed up myself with food dye. So yes, I used the Crazy Sock Lady 9-inch circular tutorial on YouTube. Sorry, there's a fiber floating through the air. I absolutely love Kay's tutorials, and ever since I've learnt that one and knit my first pair of socks with that tutorial, I actually haven't done another pattern, and I probably won't for a while. I do have the 52 weeks of socks book, pattern book, and I would love to knit all the socks in that, but while I'm still practicing, I'm quite happy with my plain vanilla sock. Yeah. I think at some point I might try maybe a seed stitch or something, or a broken seed stitch on the leg, but I'm still quite happy just doing a plain stockinette foot. So yes, that one's a bit bigger. You can see how baggy it is around the sock blocker. It doesn't sit as nicely as this one does. In terms of the foot, so I did 40 rounds for the leg. I've only done 20 and 30 in the past. I want to try doing a longer one. Still only did 10 rounds for the cuff, and then I did 35 rounds on the bigger sock, and then when I tried it on, it was still a little bit too small. I had previously done 30, it was a little bit tight. I tried 35 this time, still wasn't quite right, and then I tried 40 on this one, and this fits pretty perfectly in the length. So yeah, I'm actually super proud of how neat and tidy this one looks. I just absolutely love them. And that is it. That finishes our finished object segment. Thanks for watching. Bye. No. I guess now we get to go on to my mountain of whips that I'm currently working on. Where to start? Okay, so I finished the blue socks. and I popped them into my wool wash to soak so I could block them. While they were soaking, I cast on another pair of socks. So I haven't done much, but I've done enough. Like I've done pretty well. Ta-da! So you might have noticed I've got a longer cuff for these ones. These are for my husband. I dyed this wool specifically for him. It's still the Bendigo Wool and Mills undyed sock yarn that I bought and I dyed. That's what my blue socks were as well, sorry. I did a 20 round cuff for him because I thought I would start trying to expand. I get lazy with ribbing, and that's why I've only done 10 in the past and with previous socks. I probably need to get out of that habit. So I persevered and I did 20 for the sock, and now I'm starting on the leg for him. I don't have this one caked up, I just have it rolled up in a ball because, well, I think it got tangled actually, and that's why I wound it into a ball instead of doing it from a cake. So yep, that's just like, there's just greens and greys and whites in it. Sorry, it's not focusing, but it's quite nice. It's quite pretty. It's knitting up very nicely, which I like. I'm very happy with how it's knitting up. I like that it's a bit of colour, but it's not too colourful, if that makes sense. My husband will be quite happy with that, I think. I'm actually super impressed with the greys because they were not intentional at all. I did green food dye, which is actually quite bright, and I wanted it to be a bit more muted, so I added some black gel food dye, I said it right, to the pot to see if I could just dull that grey down a bit, and I ended up with the grey in it, which is like putting some nice little, yeah, grey stripes in there, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, I think I would like to try that again with like a purple or a pink. I'm not sure how it would work with a yellow. I should try it though, just to see. I mean, worst comes to worst, I end up with like a yellow bit of yarn that I end up using for a beanie, or I don't know, or I'll just knit it into socks anyway, because once they're on your feet and in shoes, who's gonna see them? So yeah, that's hubby socks. That's all I've done so far. I don't know why I'm using a Christmas tree progress keeper. I've just, sorry, that's my beginning of round marker. I think it's all I had in my bag at the time. Speaking of, I really, really, really need to mend this. I was going to do that today, but I've kind of run out of time. Now, I noticed when I finished my blue socks that I had less than 10 grams of the blue yarn left over, and I had another tiny little ball of leftover stuff from socks I had previously started and given up on. I don't know what happened with them, but I had like this tiny little 4 grams or something, not even 4 grams, actually it might have been 2 or 3 grams, wrapped up into a ball. So I decided I would give it a go at, I think it's a granny strap blanket. I think. I don't know crochet. I'm not well versed in crochet, so yeah, I thought I would give it a go though. So that's my Bendigo Wool and Mills blue, and this is a Maximu yarn, sock yarn leftover bit that I had, and I actually quite like how those colours are merging in together. And then when I finish my husband's green socks, if there's less than 10 grams, it will go into this blanket as well. I wasn't sure what you're supposed to do with like leftover bits and pieces, because I know if I've got more than 10 grams, preferably 20 would be great. I can do like contrasting cuffs or contrasting heels or toes or whatever. But I think less than 10 grams, I'm pushing the limits a little bit, especially because my husband and I do normally have 72 stitch socks. So yeah, I think I'm just going to, if it's less than 10 grams, put it into here. If it's more than 10 grams, keep it for little tiny things, I guess. So that's just something I will be, I'll only show it if I add 1 or 2 colours or whatever. Obviously it's going to be a long-term whip. How is my cowl doing? My sock head cowl. I feel like I take this everywhere and I'm constantly knitting on it and it's never going to be finished. But that's okay because it's fingering yarn, so it's okay if it feels like it takes forever. All right, so this is where I was up to last time. there, my triquetra charm, and that's where I'm up to now with the bird. I have started marking every 10 rounds so that I could keep track, if I ever want to do this again, of how many rounds I actually end up doing with the weight of yarn that I've got. And also I'm going to see how it looks at 100 and see if I want to keep going, because I feel like it might get quite bulky if I just keep going until I run out of my yarn, but we'll wait and see. So just in case you missed it, even though I've been knitting on this for I think 3 or 4 episodes already, the fingering yarn, the sock yarn over here, is from Stitchcraft and Wizardry. There, I'd figure in my head if I wasn't attached to it. I think it's their Beatrix Potter collection, and it's their House Elf Liberty base, which is a Dobby and Harry Potter reference. And this is from Marie of Obsession Yarns. This is a beautiful mohair that I asked her to dye up for me, and it is absolutely beautiful. And they just go together so well. I actually am like, there's a couple of mistakes in here. Like if I show you here, I've dropped the sock yarn here, I think, and only knitted the mohair, but I haven't completely dropped the sock. Like it hasn't dropped to the point where it'll come unraveled. It's still like tangled and woven in there. So there's like a little there. I think that could be the only one that I know of, but I'm okay with those kind of little mistakes. I'm still a beginner knitter. I'm okay with mistakes in my work. I'm not going to obsess over them. I probably shouldn't even bother putting it, but other than those little mistakes that aren't going to hopefully affect the integrity of the work, I'm actually super proud of how this is knitting up. It's just so beautiful. I don't even know if that's focusing. If not, you get a really nice blurry picture of my knitting. It's just so soft. I can't wait to wear it. I can't wait for the weather to get cool enough to wear it. I do need to do some research and figure out, is there like a tubing or extension or something you can get to put onto these so that I can like put it onto the ends of my needles so that I can try it on while it's on my needles without my stitches sliding off the needle, because so far like that's as far as I can go. And while it's very soft, it's not helping me figure out if it's the fibers right size. So yeah, that's my cowl. Hoping by the next episode it might actually be finished, or at least be up to the ribbing. There's mohair all over my face now. Whew. Oh gosh, I need to do something about my hair. All right, that's that. I actually can't remember if I've even worked on my, no, surely I don't think I've worked on this, and I don't think I even moved my cow progress keeper from last time. I don't think I've worked on that at all. That's shocking, isn't it? That's the grain shawl from Tin Can Knits. I might make that my take along knitting this week so I can get some more of that done, because I would really like to start getting that done. Since I haven't worked on that, I'm not going to bother talking about it. I did do a new cast on. It's actually a second try of a pattern I've got like 3/4 of the way through and then realized I had majorly stuffed up. I don't mind small mistakes, but last time I tried to knit this cowl, it was a huge mistake and it completely destroyed the whole cowl, so I had to rip it all out. I am doing the Free For All cowl by Webster Street Knittery. I absolutely love that. I think it's actually the colour of the cowl itself that I fell in love with. That yellow is just so my jam. But I decided to knit it up in Murky Turquoise by Dragonfly Yarn. Can you already see how squished and lovely that is? Like, look at that. It's just, oh my gosh. How beautiful are those colors? Golds right here. I just, oh, they're so nice. And if you remember last episode, I got some new stitch markers from Obsession Yarns, and I decided to put a little turtle on there because I was like, it's turquoise. He looks like he's swimming in the ocean. How? Oh, sorry, my needle is like not behaving itself. There we go. There's a little turtle on there. I love it. I love it so, so much. Nitty Natty, if anyone follows that, Natalie from Texas. Well, she currently lives in Texas. She's actually moving to New York. She does these yarn cuff things, like she actually knits them up. And a couple of weeks ago, I was doing the washing and I noticed that my husband had a pair of socks that had quite a few holes in the foot, but the cuff and the leg were completely fine. And it's just like a ribbed leg. So I cut the leg off his sock so I could use it as a yarn cuff. Like a yarn, yeah, like a cake holder thing. Words are not with me today, so I will pop that in. Because I did cake up my yarn, but I did it twice and it was just not cooperating and it was a bit of a mess. It's still not looking great. My yarn winder's not fabulous. It's only really good for doing 50 grams of yarn, not 100, but that's fine. It'll make do for now. I will make do for now. Try to get this back on. So, ignoring the yarn bath that's happening out of the middle, because that's what the issue is here. That's why I decided to put it in this. So it just sits there and keeps all my yarn together so that even though I do have yarn bath, it's not getting out of control. So that's very, very handy. This is just a center winding issue that I'm having here. I just have to unwind this bit here from the bit that I'm pulling out and then it's fine. See? Yes, I'm absolutely loving knitting that. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I haven't done very much of it because I have been working quite a lot lately. More on that later. And I've just been taking the Cowl all my socks everywhere. So maybe I will do some swapping, or maybe I'll just finish the Cowl first and then I'll put something else in my bag. I really should just try and finish some things first. I mean, I'm not going to do that, but I should try. What have I bought lately? Not much. I've been trying to be really good and save up for an interchangeable circular needle set because I don't want to have to go out and buy a bunch of separate cabled needles to knit my first jumper or sweater or cardigan or whatever you want to call it. It's not a cardigan because it doesn't undo in any way, shape or form. It's like a pullover. I want to do the Bright Side by Space Tricot. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly, but no one has corrected me yet. So because I'm saving up for that, I'm trying really hard to restrict my spending to under $30 a week. If it's more than that, I do not need it right now. Not more than I want my needles anyway. Oh, there's a lot of stuff that I really want though. I did splurge and spend some money on some new stitch markers, which sounds ridiculous considering the haul of stitch markers I got from Maria from Obsession Yarns last episode. But I wanted some light bulb stitch markers. I love all of Marie's like dangly ones and slide on ones, and I use them for every single project, but I wanted light bulb ones, and that's what I've got on here. Just to help me mark every 10 rounds, especially with my socks, because every time I forget, like from sock to sock, how many rounds did you do on the leg? How many rounds did you do on the foot? And sometimes, always, I write it down. But if I leave my book at home and I've taken it away, like the knitting with me, and I've left my notebook at home, fat lot of good writing it down does me. So, and I always carry the first sock with me so I can refer back to it. So I decided to buy some light bulb stitch markers so I could keep track of how many rounds I've done. And I got those from Mavis CastleMaine. Don't know how to, so Megan is absolutely delightful. She sent me the most beautiful note along with it. I did actually pop it in my stories on Instagram. She sent me the stitch markers that I ordered, but she also popped in, she watches the podcast, which is so sweet. Thank you so much, Megan. I don't actually think that people watch this, so when I get comments and stuff, I'm always so surprised. She gave me some, she made me, gifted me, just surprised the heck out of me with these beautiful black ones with blue beads. And they are absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much, Megan. I'm going to use those on something for myself. Yes, maybe the next pair of socks that I knit for myself. So yeah, I got a whole tin of the rose gold light bulb stitch markers. And I also decided to purchase some of her DPN cozies because I do have double pointed needles because I use those for the toes of my socks, obviously, once I get not enough stitches on my 9-inch circular. And at the moment, they just go straight back into the really frustrating and annoying plastic sleeve that I bought them in. That's annoying. So, and I hate taking it with me because it doesn't sit in the bag, probably because there's like this extra bit on the top where they can hook it onto the racks. So I grabbed some DPN cozies. I've got this one with lightning bolts on it because I figured with my falling apart Harry Potter bag, which is always my sock knitting bag, I have Harry Potter theme there. So I've just got my needles in there. I mostly knit on, oh, it's not labeled. What do I knit on? Oh, I think that's 2.75s that I normally knit on. I thought I had the wrapper in here for my circulars, but I have Panadol in there for some reason. So that's odd, but maybe it's because I took it to work the other day. I don't know. So yes, I got the Harry Potter one and I've got my 2.75s in there. So I have those stainless steel ones, but I also have some bamboo ones because the last time I knitted my husband's socks, I knitted his on 2.5s. I am doing the 2.75s in here, but I'm a bit concerned that this is too big. He has quite a narrow ankle and a very nicely shaped calf. I say that if you hear envy in my voice, it's because there is a lot. I do not have nicely shaped calves. I do not have nicely shaped ankles. My husband has that, plus super long eyelashes. Not fair. So I'm concerned this is a bit big for him. If it is, I'll just rip it out and I'll reknit it on 2.5s. And that's what will go in here. I'll put 2.5 bamboo ones into the snails. And I got to choose the inner colour for the lining as well, which I chose coral because I thought that's just such a happy colour. I absolutely love it. Thank you very much, Megan. Not only that, but she sent me some Bendigo Woolen Mills 8-ply classic, the Magnolia. And she called it Dye Enablement. How cute is that? That is just so adorable. Because I posted about whether or not I should keep dyeing yarn and fill up my cubes in my yarn area, and Megan's all for that. I was like, oh, maybe I should stop buying and dyeing. She's like, no, maybe you should keep buying and dyeing and fill the whole thing. I concur, Megan, I concur. I do have one more purchase. I bought something from Rosey Cheeks Handmade. I've bought her yarn before and I haven't knit with it yet, but I love it. I love how it looks in my collection. Is that ridiculous? I don't know. I will knit with it one day, but at the moment it's just sitting there looking pretty because her skeins of yarn do look very, very pretty. So you guys can join me for opening it because it only just arrived in my mailbox as I was setting all this up, which is pretty cool. Thanks so much for another order, Crystal. Hope you love this skein. Rose. I'm sure I will, Rose. Oh, you know how sometimes you think the photo is stunning and then you get the actual item and the photo does not do it justice. I wanted something chunky to make another beanie out of, and I was using Dragonfly Yarn's 10-ply to make all of my pull the wool over hats. And I decided I wanted something a bit more neutral with some speckles in it. And this is what I got. Look at that. It's Superwash Merino 10 ply. I get 168 meters per 100 grams from Rosey Cheeks. How beautiful is that? I also love that Rose uses paper labels. They're actually just plain old paper, and she uses the 100% compostable zero waste bag. So thank you, Rose, for caring about our environment. That means a lot to me. And thank you so much for the beautiful skein of yarn. I will knit it up into a beanie ASAP and show you how it looks. I love the beanies I knitted with the Dragonfly yarn. One's a little bit smaller and my daughters have kind of decided that's the one they're going to be wearing and sharing when we go camping. And the other one is a little bit too light to take camping, and I'm worried it's going to get very dirty very quickly, and I don't want to worry about it getting stained or anything like that. So I figured taking one that was grey would be a lot safer. So I'll have to knit that up straight away. That is it for all the things I have bought. I feel like this segment's going to be very short and sweet and maybe a little bit boring until I buy my interchangeable needle set, but then I'll probably be ranting and raving and just in love for 45 minutes over a needle set. So prepare yourselves for that. All right, this is the part where I get to keep this cup with me and keep drinking and have a little yarn with you. So welcome to Coffee and a Yarn. I have started my job as a tutor. It is 2 days a week at the moment. We could extend it to 3. I'll have to find that out this week, I guess. I have 4 grade 1 groups and 1 grade 3 group. The grade 3 group is great to have a break from the grade 1s because it is quite repetitive with grade 1s, because the point of this tutoring program is we're helping students that fell behind due to remote learning and from COVID last year. So these grade 1s were in prep last year, and we're at a school that has a large English isn't their at-home language. So EAL families. English is their second language. A lot of the parents don't actually speak or speak very minimal English. So can you imagine trying to help your kid with schoolwork during remote learning if you can't speak English? I don't know how we expected these parents to do that. So we are focusing on those children because they're the ones that need the most help. A lot of them obviously do EAL as well, like English as they have extra English lessons and stuff like that to help out with the language barrier. So I get in there and I'm basically doing prep work with these grade 1s because most of them are at prep level, or all the ones in my groups are at prep level or below. Actually, I don't think I have anyone at prep level. I think they could all be below. So we are back to basics. What is this letter? What sound does it make? What does it look like? And it is slow going. It's only my 3rd week this week. It's only my 2nd week of actually doing lessons. And it's very intense. Normally as a teacher, you go in there, you do 10 to 15 minutes of an explicit lesson where that's the intense part of the lesson, right at the beginning when you have their attention. And then you send them off to do their activities based on what level they're at. So you have your at level, working towards, and extension group. And you work with whatever group needs your assistance for whatever lesson it is that you're doing. And that's the less intensive part. Sure, it's a lot of work trying to get around and help 20-something students, but it's not as intensive as having to sit there and give them information for 10 solid minutes. For the tutoring groups, they're about 40 to 45 minutes, and I do 4 separate activities per session, and each activity goes for 10 minutes, and it's 10 minutes of intensive information giving. Then we'll do a small activity, 10 minutes of intensive instructions and information, small activity. It's really full on, really intense, but the kids are great and I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. The grade 3s obviously are a bit higher. They're not at grade 3 level though, so that's why they need to be in the program. But they enjoy the challenge. They love pushing themselves and seeing what they can do, whereas sometimes grade 1's can be a bit, it's too hard, I don't know how to do it. And I can get how it's disheartening for them, because so far for them, it has been a struggle for a year and a bit. Like, reading has not come naturally to them. It has not come easy. It is not something they understand yet. But once they start to understand a little bit, that's when they start to get excited about it, and they start going, I can do this. I know it's work, but I can do this. And that's the most exciting part about my job, is watching that little light go on and students start to get excited about learning because they finally, after so much work, understand something. It's so rewarding, and it's the whole reason I became a teacher. Apart from that, I'm still working as a CRT 2 days a week. I have Tuesdays off because my daughters have ballet and stuff after school and after school activities, and it's just too much of a rush trying to get them, like, I can't finish work at 3:30 when my daughter's ballet classes start at 4, because it takes me that long to get from my job to go pick them up, let alone pick them up and drive them to ballet as well. So at the moment, until they're a bit older and their lessons are later and whatnot, we just have Tuesdays off, and I run around and do all the crazy things that you have to do that you don't get a chance to do when you've constantly got kids with you. I have the house to myself, except when my kids are home. My husband's in Sydney for the week for work. It happens every now and then. He didn't go last year. Oh, he went at the start of the year. But obviously with COVID, he didn't go last year. So I actually kind of enjoyed that. But at the same time, it's I kind of like the challenge of having to do everything by myself for a short period of time, because it proves to me that I can do it. And that sometimes when he's here to pick up my slack, I can be just a tiny bit lazy and just choose to sit and knit or read a book or something instead of doing what I need to do. Whereas now, when he's not here, I do everything I need to do first, and then I sit and knit or read a book or go to sleep at 9 o'clock because I'm exhausted. So while he's in Sydney and I've got no one to talk to once the girls are in bed, I've been watching podcasts. I have been watching two, I just hit my elbow. I've been watching two new to me podcasts. One of them is actually just plain old new. The first one that's new to me, it's not actually that old, so it's not just new to me. It could be new to lots of people. It is the Fiberbound podcast. Alexandra, or Ali, from Instagram, Fiberbound. She's on Fiberbound on Instagram and in her podcast. She has done 4 absolutely amazing and beautiful. They are just so aesthetically beautiful. I feel really peaceful watching them, podcast episodes, and there's just something really relaxing and charming about Ali. I love watching her. And she is a very good knitter. Like, I am in awe of her stuff. It is absolutely beautiful. The other one I started watching is an American podcast. I think it's America. It could be, pretty sure it's America. One More Row. It has 2 people in it. I think there's only 2 episodes of it. I'll have to double check. I'm really up to the second one. So Carrie and Kay. So Carrie is Stolen Minutes _ on Instagram, and Kay is Crazy Sock Lady. So obviously she's come up in my you should watch this thing because I watch her tutorials for all her sock knitting. And I was like, 2 friends sitting down talking about knitting, I'll give it a go. And then once I realized it was Kay, I was like, yes, subscribe, like it all, watch it all. And they're so cute together, like Carrie and Kay just sitting there chatting about their knitting and what they're doing in life. And it's wonderful to watch. And they're both mums, and it's kind of cool to watch about mums that knit, I guess, because I do wonder sometimes about how people juggle all these hobbies and so much knitting with life. Like, life gets, my kids are my biggest, like, time sucks. Like, that sounds awful, but I could be going to go, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to knit for half an hour, and within that half an hour I'll get maybe 2 or 3 minutes because of my kids, And not because they're intending to or anything, but like I'll just be sitting there staring at them and watching them play and smiling at them and laughing with them. And then my timer will go off and I'll realize I have done nothing. So yes, massive time sucks. My cat is scratching at my front door, so I need to go let her in. Because, you know, we have a dog door, but why would the princess want to do anything herself when someone could open the door and let her in? She's stopped now, so maybe if I ignore her, she will actually squeeze her fat self through and go around and use the dog door. I don't know if she can fit. There's like a gap that she can go through near our back fence, where the fence joins the post. There's like a perfect gap for her, but she's gotten so fat, I don't know if she will actually fit through there. So I'll give it a few more minutes and see what she does. That might be why she's constantly scratching at the door lately. Those are the two I have been watching the most of. I've also been trying to pick up a book. I've been reading on my iPad again because it's just been easier and to be able to knit at the same time, especially in bed at night time. But I went over and helped a friend and her husband start packing up their house because they sold their house because they're rebuilding. And rebuilding, they are building, they're not rebuilding. There's nothing like they're building a new house over here closer to me. And as soon as I saw this book on her shelf, I was like, oh, I need to borrow it. She goes, oh, you can just take it. I'm not going to pack it and then you'll have to wait to borrow it. So I borrowed Olivia Newton-John's autobiography, I'm not sure. I think it could be autobiography, Olivia Newton-John's story in her own words for the very first time. So I was obsessed with, I still am slightly obsessed, but I was obsessed with Olivia Newton-John as a child. My sister asked for like Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls on tape. I asked for Olivia Newton-John and ABBA because that's just who I am, okay? I'm not going to apologize for it. I absolutely loved her. I loved her in Grease. I love her in everything. I love her music. I thought I would give it a go, see how I like it. It will be my first ever autobiography. I am interested to see what the hype is because my husband, that's all he reads. Mind you, he's not a big reader, but that is all he reads. And my best friend, who I borrowed this from, her husband has a huge collection of autobiographies and biographies. And I do buy 1 or 2 or 3 of them, depending on what's out at the moment for Christmas, for presents every year, because people seem to love them. So I will give it a go and let you know how it is. I feel like I've been talking for forever. When I'm getting everything ready, I always think this is going to be such a short episode because I don't have that much stuff. Then somehow an hour goes by. Okay. Yep, it is 2 o'clock, Tuesday, 16th of March already. I guess I better finish this up, go get my kids and take them to ballet. And I'm going to get 45 minutes of knitting done while they're in there. So, yay! All right. Until I talk to you guys again, thank you so much for coming to watch. If you've managed to stick it out for this long, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you if you're a first-time viewer. Hopefully you liked what you saw. I hopefully will get some stuff done and have a bit more to show next episode and maybe a little bit less talking and about general stuff. Till I talk to you again, please look after yourself. Your mental, social, emotional well-being is so incredibly important, and so are you. Bye.